Audio Jungle.
How, what exactly Java is. So what are the advantages Java is going to provide you? Okay, so compared to other programming languages. So just come to Java. So Java is developed by James Gosling in the year 1991. So in the year 1991, so by Sun Microsystem in USA. So earlier it was owned by Sun Microsystem. Now it's with Oracle Corporation. So now it's owned by Oracle Corporation. So when it comes, so before learning in Java, we will go and see history of Java. So what is that? So as I explained, which is developed by James Gosling and his team. So when it comes to his team, there are Patrick Norton and Chris Worth, Ed Frank, and Mike Shedden. So why they come to Java? So earlier there was C and C++. So why they choose Java? There already C and C++ exist. Why they choose Java? Because these programs are not portable, are not language independent. So when they are working on Java, so their intention is, hey, they want a software which they develop and that needs to be worked in the TV remotes and embedded systems. But they try to use this C++. They are not giving enough result. That means, so for suppose, let me explain you in understandable language. Like, so whatever the programs you develop in C++, once you compile, that will give you a file. So if you compile in Windows environment, that file cannot be carried to Linux environment or MacBook. So that is the reason they come with Java, that is platform independent. Okay, that is platform independent. So the main motto to develop Java is platform independent. This is the first and foremost feature why they developed Java. Okay, so then what they did. So before going to discuss like compile and interpret, there are a couple of, so right now I am going to skip them, okay, because anyway it's not regular session, so I'm going to skip them. So small comparison between Java and C++. So there is no operator overloading concept. So a operator can be used multiple purpose, so which leads to some confusion. That kind of confusion avoided in Java. No template concept and do not support multiple inheritance. So if you use multiple inheritance, what happen? Like uh, at a certain point of time. So if you like a class implementing both extending both classes. So if you if you're overriding some method, common method, at that point of time you don't know which this comes. So it's a small hierarchy, that's fine. So if hierarchy is going on, class A extends B, B extends C, C extends D, C, like that. So if you go like that at a certain point of time, it is very difficult to identify the hierarchy. So for that reason they stopped multiple inheritance in Java. No global variables. No global variables. Which means, so you cannot declare anything outside the class. So for example, class followed by the class name. Let's say if class name is A. Everything you have to declare inside the class. So you cannot declare anything outside the class. Okay, and no header files. Here you have all imports. So no header files, because header files, what it will do, uh, when you say hash include some std.h, conio.h, that entire library needs to be copied into your program. So there you will get some problems like unnecessary memory it consumes. But instead of that, they given import. So whichever class you are working, that class you need to import. Okay, not entire library. So what are the class you are working, that class only you need to import. So there you can reduce memory, and only that particular class needs to be imported. First we need to discuss about Java character set. So let's slowly we will learn about Java. Okay, so Java character set, what kind of things we use in Java, then we will go for a program. Okay, Java character set. So what kind of characters it supports? So it supports both Unicode and ASCII code. There are two kinds of codes exist, Unicode and ASCII code. So that supports both Unicode and as well as ASCII. It supports both Unicode and ASCII code. So coming to tokens, so there are a couple of Java tokens. They are reserved keyword. First one is reserved keywords. So tokens is the one which helps you to write the program. Okay, what are the reserved keywords? If you take any programming language, some some words are registered. That means you cannot use those words for your own purpose. You cannot use those words for your own purpose. Like data types is one of the keywords. Like if all data types, like all data types, they are int, float, double. So these are the reserved keywords. Means this int, plain int, I cannot use anywhere for my own purpose. Okay, some blocks, if, else, for, like this. There are around 58 words. Okay, there are around 58 words registered for Java. So you cannot use them for your own purpose. Okay, and identifiers. The next one is identifiers. What identifiers will tell you? So this will tell you how to name your class, method, variable. How to name class, method, variable. So there are like few conditions. Okay, so in the class name, that might be class name, class, method, and variable. Sorry, class, method, variable. So how to name? In this one, what kind of characters you can use? So you can use any alphabet. Okay, you can use alphanumeric, you can use underscores, you can use dollar character. Okay, alphabets and numbers, underscore, dollar sign. Okay, you can use them. So they cannot be start with a digit or number. So it contain alphabet, numbers, underscore, dollar, but it should not start with a number. Like if you take a variable name, like if you say name, so you can say name one, but you cannot say one name. Okay, the second one is wrong. A variable name or class name, method name should not start with letter, sorry, number or digit. Okay, in Java, Java is a case sensitive language. Okay, name does not equal to name or does not equal to name. Okay, all are different. Okay, small name, or else in simple, A does not equal to capital A. Okay, so small a is distinct and capital A is different. All are different. Then that can be any length. Variable name can or class name can be any length, but you have to follow appropriate. But suppose if I am representing employee information, you should have class name employee or at least employee details, not more than that. Okay, so whenever you are naming, you should name professional. Okay, like you should not name whatever you want, because if you name something, if I read that, I should understand. If you write a class employee, so there you store the employee details, so that if I read some, if you write, I come and read, then I will understand it. But if I like where I am storing the employee details, but if I name it as something else, XYZ, so if someone come and reads the class XYZ, they don't understand. So they provided you to length can be anything. So you should follow, you can use any alphanumeric, okay, but it should not start with the number. That can be any length, but again I am saying you that can be any length, but that length should be proper. Okay, then next, naming conventions, how we can write a naming convention. So let's see, there are variables, methods, and class names. So method and variables, methods, naming convention. Now we are discussing naming conventions of method and variable. So they should start with small letter. Start with small letter. I will tell you later why they asked for small letter. There's a reason. Okay. So, but it is not like if you take a variable, let's take total. If you take total as a variable, it should start with small letter. And if you take total as a method, it should be total. Okay, total as a method. In case if there are multiple words like total marks, total salary, or net salary, gross salary, if you have two words, second word first letter should be capital. Second word first letter should be capital. That is, if you say total and marks, there are two words, right? So the proper naming convention is second word first letter should be capital. Total marks. So if it is a method, so you have to give parentheses. In case, what if you have three words? Again, except first word, each word's first letter should be capital. Except first word's first letter, remaining other words first letter should be capital. Like if you have get total marks, so it should be get, second letter first should be capital, total, then again next word's first letter should be capital, like so get total marks. It should be like this. Okay, then how to name a class? Naming a class. So class should start with capital letter. Class name should start with capital letter, like hello. If you have two words, second word first letter should be capital, like hello and Java. Again, if you have 3 words and the last word, first letter should be capital. Okay. Then how to name a constant? How to name a constant? Naming a, so constant is nothing but some value defined. Like if you take a math value pi, so somewhere we store 3.14, right? So that is the constant. That value never change. So sometimes in application we have to use constants. That value never change. So for that reason, like the constant always max letters. Constant we should be declared as max capital letters. Sorry, constant should be declared as capital letters. Constant should contain all capital letters. So you can ask me, hey Mahesh, what if there are 2 words again? So underscore is the separator between words. So same thing, if you have total value, or so you should give total underscore value. If you have one more, so underscore is the separator. So the next one are literals. So what is literals? So literals are the one like what kind of characters you are using. So digit or integers, they are literals. Floating point literals. Character literals. String is a literal. Boolean. So other than that, you cannot use anything. If you take in your daily life, so you use integers, you use float, you use characters, string, boolean. Other than that, you cannot use anything in your life. So the same thing, the literals are available in the programming language as well. So integer, so where you can see 1, it starts from 0. That can be negative as well. 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma so on. N. Okay. The floating point, floats, or that can be called as real values or fraction values. Okay. So in general English, fractions, but we will say that it's float. Okay. We will say that in float in Java. They are like some fraction values. Okay. So some dots should contain, okay, point some value. They are fractions. Next, characters. Only single character. So character, only one letter, A, B, C, like that. Next, string. They are, sorry, it's string, not string. String, like multiple characters. Hello. If you put into double quotes, that will be a string. Okay. The quotes and all those things we will discuss later, but you can say set of characters is known as a string. Okay. String can be a word or a statement or whatever. That is a string. And next one is Boolean. You can say yes or no. That is modified, and we can say that true or false. So in general language we'll say yes or no, but when it comes to Java, that should be true or false. So these are the things you use in your real time. The same literals are given in Java. So there are a couple of operators they given. So right now I just go through the list out the operators, but when it comes to more, we can discuss more, because to discuss them I need to go through because we need to learn some programming knowledge. Arithmetic, as you know, like plus, minus, and all those things we do. Assignment operator, equal to, so you are assigning something. Increment, so how much you want to increment each time. Relation operator, so if yes, do something, if not, or less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Comparison, checking for the object, checking for the same. Okay, we are comparing. Bitwise, so where I can check some conditions. Okay, logical and logical, or that's logical. Ternary, so this is something new. If this satisfies, do this, else do something else in a single. Special operators like dot, parenthesis, they comes to special operators. So don't worry, we have a topic called operators. There we discuss more these things. Okay, so let's discuss about data types. So if you take any programming language, okay, data types are basic. So if you take what kind of data types you use in the real time, the same thing. Just now we discussed literals, right? They are data types as well. Primitives and non-primitives. So what is the primitive and what is the non-primitive? Primitive is the one which stores only single value. In simple, primitive contain single value, whereas non-primitive contain collection of values. Okay, so primitive like complex, non-complex is non-complex is the one like straightforward value. Complex in the sense where it's combined multiple values. So if you know XML, you understand that. In other words, primitive in the sense which contains straightforward value. So non-primitive is some values grouped together. Okay. So when it comes to primitive, what are the types again? So let's go with primitive. So let me take a draw. Primitive. So primitives contain again numeric and non-numeric. Okay. Numeric and non-numeric. So when it comes to numeric again, we have a couple of types. So can you tell any of you numerics? So numerics are, that can be integers, integer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and floating. So that can be floating, like where some real constant 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, those things. When it comes to non-numeric, you have two things: character and boolean. Yes or no. Okay. Again, when it comes to integer, you have few things in Java. They are byte, short, long. Based on the range, we use this one. Okay. And when it comes to float, and you have double. Okay. So these are the data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. These are the data types available in Java. Okay.